Nestled on the edge of Dartmoor lies an ancient forest, where cascading waterfalls and prehistoric plants make you feel you're lost in the mists of time.
Just look and listen to that. The full force of nature. I've come to this remarkable place, Lydford Gorge in Devon. It's very steep-sided, so all of the moisture coming off of this fabulous waterfall, it's dripping out of the air because it's pouring with rain today, is kept within the gorge. The perfect place for a rainforest. And that's what we've got, a temperate rainforest. And it's home to some very special species.
Almost every surface here is green, covered in mosses and lichens. But when you're walking in the forest, one group of plants in particular reaches out from every corner to greet you.
And this is what I've come to look at today. Ferns, a very much overlooked group of plants. There are about 38 species of fern like these in the UK, 10 to 12,000 in the world. And this one is a soft shield fern. But think about ferns. When was the last time you saw a fern flower? Well, you've never seen a fern flower. They don't produce them. So how do they reproduce? Well, take a look at the underside. And you can see those tiny little brown spots. Well, they're called sori, and they're made up of sporangia. Now, the clue is in the name, because when conditions are right, they don't release pollen, they release spores, altogether different. And what happens next is extraordinary.
It's a microscopic process. So to understand it, we're going to need some visuals.
So the spores travel through the air until they find a suitable place to germinate. And then they produce something called a gametophyte. And it's a heart-shaped structure like this, and it has some small roots called rhizomes which emerge from the bottom of it, so it's able to draw in nutrients.
This tiny plant, a single layer of cells, is less than 1 centimetre in diameter and is the subject of the incredible photograph. Underneath the gametophyte grows a male part at one end and a female part at the other. When it rains and the ground around these small plants becomes flooded, the cap on the male part opens, releasing sperm into the water. Yes, you heard right. Fern sperm that swim off into the water in search of an egg. The water also triggers the female part of the plant to open, releasing chemicals that attract the sperm. When the sperm find it, they swim up the canal towards the egg, and when one of them reaches it, they fuse. And just like in humans, fertilisation is now complete. The egg develops into the fern that we all know and love, known as the sporophyte. And ferns have been reproducing in this way for 300 million years. And whilst the sporophyte ferns are easy to see, and they're all around me here, finding a gametophyte, that heart-shaped tiny plant, with an emerging baby fern, well, that's much more of a challenge.
This is clearly very wet, an ideal place to look. Now, all of this greenery on here are liverworts, but that's not what I'm looking for. To be honest with you, to find it, I'm going to need my glasses. Essentially, what I'm looking for is a baby fern, something that might be the sporophyte growing out of a gametophyte. And that could be it. Look at that. That looks like a mini fern. What I need here is to further improve my vision with a magnifying glass. That's it. Look at that. You can see those little sporophyte, essentially fern leaves, growing out of a tiny, almost transparent gametophyte. which is shrivelling up and has almost disappeared. Oh my goodness me. I'm standing in a cold shower looking at something that in 62 years of probing around in the wet woods I've never seen before. So despite the fact that I've got water pouring down the back of my neck and my sleeve, I'm a very happy bloke. What about that? Superb, absolutely superb.